back to our daily show in the heart of the 618. You know, time and time again, we've had great conversations with Joe Cunningham with No Labels. And yesterday, we had the opportunity now to talk to former Governor Pat McCrory from North Carolina. Sir, we had a press conference Thursday. This is going to air on Friday, but some really groundbreaking news coming out of No Labels. Before we go into the deep dive of this, can you give us an overview of what this press conference was all about?
Well, we had the press conference to announce that we're asking the U.S. Justice Department to investigate groups, coordinated groups that are working, we think, allegedly in a illegal manner to stop No Labels and, frankly, other groups from having a chance to give the voters an opportunity to have another choice on the ballot. And we think this is as important as taking away someone's vote. And what they're trying to do is deny access to a ballot by actually verbally and threatening not only people associated with the No Labels, but also their families. And that is so out of bounds beyond the First Amendment that we're calling them out on it. And right now it's more of the left-wing groups doing it, but I'm a Republican, and once we get on the ballot in a lot of red states, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the right-wing groups do the same thing. And it shouldn't be a part of our political process to threaten people's constitutional right to try to get on the ballot and give the people of America a choice other than the two powerful parties that we have in kind of a duopoly right now in our democratic system. And that's what is happening right now is the power elite. I'm in Washington, D.C. today. The power elite in D.C. want to control this duopoly. And anyone who dares challenge the duopoly is being threatened, and that's unacceptable.
Well, and sir, on top of that, when I was speaking to Mr. Cunningham, when we first started talking a few months ago, the public already started to notice on both sides of the aisle, on numerous publications that are left-leaning and right-leaning, there were attacks pieces coming out on No Labels. Was that something that you guys anticipated when you made the announcement that we are going to look into this unity ticket? We're going to get ballot access. Did you expect that this would happen, given the the history of our two-party system?
Well, let me tell you, I've played the game. I've been played by the game, and we're here to expose the game and change the game that we think is impacting our democracy and giving the voters of America limited choice. In fact, I would say, and I'm a Republican,
right?
But I would say I think there's an arrogance among the power elite in both parties of just make an assumption that the American people don't deserve another choice besides the ones that they're presenting to the voters. And yet 65% of the American people do not want a repeat of the 2020 election. And despite that, they're going to, looks like, based upon Iowa, we're going to get a repeat. And if that occurs, No Labels will most likely present a slate available for a president and vice president candidate to be in all 50 states. And that's what we're working on right now, is to get on the ballots of all 50 states and make it accessible for a slate of candidates. And then No Labels will bail out, let those candidates have the opportunity to compete against the duopoly that we have in our American system right now.
Absolutely. And sir, you've been hailed before as one of the most conservative governors. I've seen it in pieces, in North Carolina. What was your decision to really look into No Labels and be a part of this group? Was there a moment in the last couple of years, I know that you had a run at Senate, was there a moment you said, you know what, this is an idea that we have to really start to explore?
I think it's been a gradual process. I ran for city council when I was 32, and there's this concept of wanting to label everyone. And, on some issues, I'm quite conservative. On issues, I'd be called moderate or even liberal. I take each issue on its own merit, make a decision, usually in a more conservative way. But right now, we're labeling people as extremist or conservative, Republican, right-wing, left-wing. And I think what we're doing is labeling people to stifle discussion and to stifle civic dialogue. So I would have never known I'm working with Dr. Ben Chavis, and he's been labeled as a left-wing extremist in the past, and that's what I thought him to be. Then we met each other, and we find out we've become very close friends, and we have civil dialogue, and we find out that we can come together and agree on most issues. But the two parties aren't letting us do that. The two parties are forcing us to get in this cocoon of only looking one way. And if we dare break out of that, we're in my party, we're called a rhino.
Right. Exactly. And with that, I think it's really important to hear those conversations because, whenever I walk down the grocery aisle, and I always use this analogy and want your thoughts on this, you hear people having different ideas all the time, but they all have the same moral compass. It's just a different avenue to get there.
Listen, I've been called during my political career, but I've been a city councilman, 14-year mayor, a governor, and a U.S. Senate campaign candidate, and I've been called a left-wing rhino. I've been called a right-wing extremist. I've been called a conservative, liberal, moderate. And frankly, we've got to have people who look for results and are trying to solve the complex problems that we have today. And that's why I'm so honored to be with Joe Lieberman and Ben Chavis. We're working together, and we care more about our country than our party. I hear all these candidates running that they're going to put country first over party, but the minute they win the primary, they put the party over the country, and that's happening on both sides of the aisle. I know this. I know the game.
Well,
I've run in these primaries,
and sir, this is
a lot of them are gerrymandered by the two parties, and this is not the way our democracy should work. I'm not against the two-party system, but right now the two-party system needs some competition. And to stop this, I think, arrogance that we have in America right now. And I'm more interested in getting viable leaders so the next generation can enjoy this great country we call the United States of America, and opportunity. We need results now than ever. And I think most of the people are saying enough. We've had enough of the choices that the two parties are providing, especially in this upcoming election.
Well, and sir, I'm glad you brought up the gerrymandering, and this is something that Joe and I have talked about before in these type of interviews, is I feel like, and a lot of people do, the primary is the most important election for these candidates, is just getting out of their primary because they're redistricted into a stronghold and they have to act more and more, I don't want to use the word extreme, but more and more conservative than the other or liberal than the other opponent. And do you think that's what's really caused these issues? Because we get so far left and right in these primaries, it seems like it's hard to get back to the center during the general.
Yeah, you got to look at Iowa right now.
Yeah.
Just over 100,000 people voted, and we've almost determined the presidential election. The Democrats bypassed Iowa. The Republicans got involved, and most candidates dropped out even before one vote was submitted.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a broken system. It's a broken system right now, and I think most people are realizing that. And that's why I'm honored to be a part of No Labels. I still am a registered Republican.
Yeah.
But I'm also, that doesn't mean I have to always be a Republican, and that's why I'm with No Labels at this point in time. And it looks as though, based upon the current political environment, that come Super Tuesday, we may be offering a ballot to a president, vice presidential candidate, most likely a Democrat and Republican. I'm not sure in what order or what, but we're going to be looking at that. And in the meantime, our goal is to get on every ballot in the United States of America. And sadly, these groups are doing everything and anything, try to deny our access to state ballots throughout the United States of America. It's happened in Maine. It's happened in my own state, North Carolina. We got all the signatures, and for 3 months, the elections board delayed a decision, even though it was obvious that we had followed all the constitutional requirements. But that's the duopoly of holding on to power. Holding on to power and not letting go of that power.
And sir, on top of that, we have a couple of minutes left, and I greatly appreciate your time. I think it's wonderful that No Labels, comes on local media as well, because I know that you guys will be on the Big Four today. I saw a couple of advertisements for it already. As we're talking about this investigation that you're calling on, or No Labels is calling on, sir, is there anything that you can give to us today that, in terms of evidence that you're seeing that really is the red flag that says, hey, there is something not right here? I know that there was was described in the press conference, but if you could relay some of those hinderings to our audience today, if you could.
Well, we showed a video today of some of this coordinated effort where actually people, a part of these groups were making threats, not only against people working with No Labels, but their families and their future job opportunities. I mean, that's intimidation, and that is not legal. There's a line, I've been involved in a lot of political campaigns. I've been called names by the left and right. That's protected free speech. But you cannot threaten people and their families. Yeah. And that's just wrong. And we're one of the first groups in America going enough. And we're asking the Justice Department to say that should not be part of our political process. So it's not just about no labels. It's about all the groups that want to participate in the democratic process, both now and in the future. And again, part of my faith tells me we need to leave this place a better place than when we arrived. And I believe in competition. I'm a conservative who believes in competition, and yet we have both Republicans and Democrats who don't want competition. And we have people who are trying to stop people having access to vote in both parties. A lot of hypocrisy out there. But Ben Chavis and myself and Joe Lieberman are calling out the hypocrisy. And we think the people are responding to it. And it may, again, I think if we do submit candidates, if Biden and Trump are the two final candidates, I think we'll win and make history. But it's not for power. It's not for our own ego. It's because the two parties have failed the American people. We're really responding to what the American people are saying. They're just not being listened to.
100. And I think so many of us, especially in states like Illinois that have a majority of the state, and up north that vote on the left side, and then about 3/4 of the state vote Republican, but they go, we never get our candidate because it outweighs. And there's conversations like that, sir, that happen a lot. And I'm sure, and I know.
And look at the small amount of people who are deciding who our candidates actually are.
Yeah.
And the amount of people who are staying home.
Yeah. And sir,
it's not working. It's broken.
Absolutely. And sir, on top of that, I know that we got to keep moving, and you do as well, and keep making your rounds. And I really appreciate your time. Before I let you go, I asked Joe the same question. What are some of the names that you've been hearing on the campaign trail? I don't want to say campaign trail, but on the national tour of, here's who we'd like. I saw Manchin being named in a couple of articles about maybe a spearheader. Is there any names that are being floated more often than not?
I'm not going to, I think it's inappropriate me to submit names at this point in time.
Yep.
I will say the list is broad. People that we should consider and should consider us, from the military, from business, from politics. There's a lot of qualified people out there who'd be excellent leaders of our country. Our major focus right now is getting on the ballot and overcoming these assaults that are being presented to No Labels efforts to do just that and give people a choice. So that's what we're going to focus our attention on. And we'll be ready at the time after Super Tuesday, if the current political environment remains between now and then, to hear from the American people and see what types of candidates they want as an alternative.
Pat McCrory, thank you so much. The former governor of North Carolina, the national co-chair of No Labels. I really appreciate your time. We always love talking about No Labels here in the St. Louis area. And anytime there's more news, especially on this investigation, you're more than welcome back here.
I mean, I've enjoyed working with your former governor, Nixon.
Yes.
He's bumping. He and I served together, and we're friends then and we're friends now. And we have civil dialogue and friendship, even though we're in opposite parties. So give my best to your former governor. He's an important part of No Labels.
Absolutely. And Pat and Mr. McCroy, thank you so much for your time. The best of luck throughout the rest of the day. And thank you so much for your time again here in the 618.
Thank you. God bless. Take care.
You too. We'll take a quick break in our daily show. We'll continue right after this in downtown.